Fractalforums subtiliter contemplantur novus mundus. Many people ask themselves, what is so great about fractal forums? Let me tell you the story of the forums and how it became what it is today. The forums has been founded in the year 2006 by Jason, and Christian joined in shortly after. Right away he felt at home. It was a tiny bunch of active users that were all visiting the forums on a regular basis. In the year 2008, Jason confronted the community with an ultimatum. If no one buys the domain, it would go offline. Christian stepped out of the shadow and was willing to take that burden upon him. That included not only carrying the torch of fractal spirit, but also transferring the database content and the forum software by hand. At that time, the forum software page impression count was 70,000 a month. He extended the functionality, bought gallery software, and introduced the annual competition, which was called Spring Competition. But since the forum became so international, the competition was renamed to Annual Competition. So the people from below the equator, like New Zealand or Argentina, would not feel excluded anymore. Right now, the page impression count of the forums is at a solid 1 million. So, why on earth is this forum so relevant for the fractal scene? It is because the now famous Mandelbulb has been found there. And by the way, it would have been delayed even more without Christian's intervention. That is not really relevant, is it? But I mention it anyway, because Christian is such a megalomaniac. But back to the Mandelbulb. The story of its discovery is a great story. Once upon a time, in September 2007, young Daniel White came along and his first words were, "I'm relatively new to fractals, but I have searched for hours to find a true Mandelbrot type fractal. All in vain. I don't want the raised mountain types of Mandelbrot, and I don't want the true ones, such as the manga sponge. I instead want a true 3D equivalent of the Mandelbrot." This was of mighty importance, because every higher dimensional representation of the Mandelbrot set was very discouraging so far. They either looked like pulled dough, or whipped cream, or just like simple hate maps. Young Daniel couldn't live with the results. He was searching for an object with the characteristic Mandelbrot features in every direction. User Lyceum came to rescue armed with a ray marcher that was very good at providing a global illumination result. After a few days of fierce battle, he represented the first image of a 3D Mandelbrot attempt using triplex numbers. This now legendary thread is still available and has more than 200,000 views. By now, the quarrel amongst the forum's people was great. Young Daniel's idea was simple and ingenious. Based on the polar representation of complex numbers, he just added a secondary axis to rotate around while multiplying. And yes, simple as that, this approach led then to the Mandelbulb. Brave Paul Nylander turned it into an algebraic structure, division and addition as its two operators, with neutral elements and inverses with division and subtraction. Sadly, not a complete algebra, because it is not distributive nor associative, just commutative. It was then that the Mandelbrot to the 8th power became famous as the Mandelbulb, which has been featured on slash.org, which has woken the forums out of its sleep, and many magazines followed after that. For example, Scientific America or the German Spiegel, and even newspapers like the German FAZ were reporting about it. Since then, the forums finances itself through simple advertising. Shortly after that, two members of the forums started to write distinguished ray marcher software with incredible rendering functionality. Both software programs are still under development, and there's still more to come. Christian provided them with a quest to include hybrid variants into their programs, and they accepted this challenge bravely, providing us the possibility to create new formulas every day, and they keep programming on and on. But now it's rather late, and it's time for you to render new fractals. And perhaps other stories will be told.